There are things that are not selling only because you have not learned. So today we'll be starting the lecture on Business 101. So if you're writing, please write this down. And for those of us who are not here, I'm sure you'll get to watch the video later on YouTube. So Business 101. So the first thing I want to say here is that many of us are driven towards business. There is an innate desire to sell more than ever before. I've seen that there's been such a rise in the passion to transact. Many young people, even those in school, when I was in the university, I was one of the very few people who was very entrepreneurial on campus. Most people didn't have that drive to trade or to do business in school, but I've seen that there's a lot of drive. I've seen young people, 17 years old, 16 years old, 17, 19 years old, trying to get into business while on campus. It wasn't like that maybe 5, 10 years ago, which is a good thing. You know, there's sudden drive to make money, to generate income, which is fantastic. However, I worry that the drive to sell and the drive to sell and the drive to business is not matched by sufficient preparation. I worry about that. So I was in the city some months ago doing a teaching on business, and afterwards we're given time to answer some questions. And one of the questions that the lady asked, a young lady in the university, she asked a question that she's into business and that she's selling her products a little bit less than the market value, and that she has, very good product at very good prices, but people are not really buying her product, and she felt really frustrated by it. And as much as I admired her passion, her love for what she was doing, I had to ask her again, how old are you? And I think she said she was 18 or 19 years old, and she was in like 200 level or so in the university where she was. And I said to her, you're doing well already. Why are you so stressed out about people not buying what you're selling? The fact that you're putting an attempt to sell while you are doing your academics, it's already honorable, right? And even if your business is meant to succeed at the level for which you want it to succeed, it's very possible that you may not even have what it takes to match up with it. Because if you do so, something will suffer. Either your business will suffer or your academics will suffer. So we have a lot of young people trying to start businesses for which they are not prepared. So this is my first point. Write this down. You must know when to sell, and you must know when to learn. Many of us are selling when we should be learning, because we are selling where we have not learned. Because in everything you want to sell, there is a science to it. There is a time to sell, and there is a time to learn. And there is a learning that propels selling. There are things that are not selling only because you have not learned. Is that making sense to you? There are things that you can sell only because of what you have learned. But many people are geared towards finding what they think sells, because Apeh said that sell what sells and don't sell what you like. So your goal is to find what is selling in the city where you belong. But before you sell what sells, you must learn before you sell. There is a learning process. Before we began the hotel in Makurdi, I had the plan of a hotel in my mind for several years. But while I traveled to different countries and different cities, I took time to learn the system. I took time to understand the system. I took time to learn the system and understand the system, all right, of what makes a hotel work. What makes a hotel work? Because if I began the hotel before I learned hoteling, I could be in big trouble. Because there are many big hotels in the city where we have our hotel that they're not doing great. They spent more money than I did. They have better location than I do, but they are doing very poorly because they didn't learn something that I learned. You see what I'm saying now? So before you sell, commit time to learning, right? So know when to sell. There's a time to sell. Don't get me wrong. It's critical to sell. Sell your services, sell your skill, sell your time, sell your attire, your looks, looking responsible. Sell your odor, sell your smell, sell and transact. But there is a time to sell. Many of you are in so much struggle Struggle will come with a business. Every business will come with its own struggle. But some of you are struggling exceptionally because you have not committed to learning exceptionally. If you want to overcome the struggle season of your business quick enough, you must commit to a learning season long enough, right? So know when to sell and know when to learn. I'm going to move quite fast because there's a lot to address in this Business 101 class. Number two is that you know what to sell and you know where to sell. So number one, I said, is that you know when to sell and you know when to learn. I wish I could dig deeper into that. Maybe I should. Some of you need to devote a bit more time in providing services for someone who is doing something you want to do in the next 2 years. That's one of the best ways to learn. Go and do apprenticeship with a person who is excelling in a field that you want to attempt in the next few years. Go and commit yourself to learning for 1 year, 2 years, 6 months. Just be there, devoted and working. And if possible, don't even charge anything for your salary. If you are really tight on cash, they can give you an allowance to help with your transportation, but serve to learn, right? Let that be like a mentorship session for you where you commit to learning by serving. And that will help you to build your business faster when you start. Because in doing so, you have seen all the gaps in the process of selling what your mentor was selling. And you will learn from both their strengths and their weaknesses, but never undermine the learning season. You could be in school and you want to go into digital marketing, start learning, start reading things online. Don't be quick to start. Don't say because I have learned a thing or two, I will just begin. No, be patient long enough. Just keep learning. Take 6 months. Learn, write, document, plan. Take 1 year, take 2 years. But when you come out after 2 years of this learning, you do a lot more better than the person who began in a hurry 2 years before you. All right? So know when to sell and know when to learn. That's number one. Number two is know what to sell and know where to sell it. This is very critical, especially in our time. Some of us, may want to sell what sells, but the way that we define what sells is what everybody is selling. You see? So I want to sell because Abigail is selling the same thing, and those of you who know Abigail, she sells journals, fantastic journals, patronize her. Anyways. So, but because she's selling journals now, and I see she's doing so well at it, I also want to sell journals. And that may not be what I am gifted to sell, even though it is something that sells. But there's a way that Abigail sells it that is not something that I can do. So many of you are choosing what to sell only by what people are selling. And that's not how to pick what to sell. There are things that people are doing that I can never do. I've had friends who have told me before to consider going into oil and gas. And I told them I will never do it. It's not something I see myself doing in 10 years' time. I have never seen myself in the oil and gas industry because it's not something that I think I'm equipped to sell, right? So you also need to know what you can sell, right? There are things that move markets, if you know what I mean, but I can't sell them. For example, I can't sell female t-shirts. I can't sell female bags. But women buy more things than men. Yeah, but I can sell female bags. Not because I'm arrogant or I'm, manly. No, but I just can't sell it. I don't know how to market it, right? It's not the kind of thing that I can sell. I can't even own a boutique for even men because it's not the kind of thing that I can sell. So you need to know what you can sell, right? And I'm not saying that there's a spiritual way around it, like, I've prayed about it. This is something that the Lord has told me. There's a place where the Lord approves what you want to do. I agree. But I'm saying that this is not just about the spiritual part of things to say, dear Lord, what should I sell? I'm just trying to say that it's not everything that is meant for you to sell. So choose very carefully what you are meant to sell. And when you have decided what to sell, then the next question is, where do you sell it? I'll tell you a story. So a family friend of mine called me up recently, and she was planning to begin a business. Now, this person is actually, quite popular. She's out there. She has a large following online. But she wanted to start a business, and she called me up to say, look, can you help me find a store in Abuja where I can rent for this business? So I asked her a question. I said, why do you want to get a store? She said because she wants to start a business and she wants to be able to display her products in the store so people can come in. And I said, you don't need a store. I mean, you have over 100,000 people following online. Why do you need a store? Where you ought to sell is online and not in the store. You don't need a shop to sell your brand. What you need is to create a massive sales campaign online. So when I'm saying knowing where to sell, I'm not just talking about location, like Makurdi, Abuja, or Enugu, or Tanzania, for example. I'm saying that you need to know where to sell in the context of whether you are selling more virtually or physically, because the times have changed. And now the virtual place is now an address, right? As much as any physical shop. So many of you are investing so much in trying to get a shop, and that's the wrong place to start in this business 101 procedure. Some of you need to, train yourselves on how to sell virtually. You have your WhatsApp, you have your Instagram, you have your TikTok, you have your Facebook, you have your LinkedIn, you have your X or Twitter, right? You have your Thread. Use it to sell. Those are shops. Open a store on your social media. And we have even come to a point in time that websites are not even as important anymore. You don't need a website to sell because you say, I don't have money for a website, but the social media is for free. So for many businesses, you don't need a physical location. However, there are some of us, like I'm selling bread. I can't sell bread online, okay? We have a restaurant. We can't sell all our food online, so we have a physical restaurant. So for those of you who are trying to start up a business, like the other lady who owns a poultry, you can't sell your chicken online, but you can. I've seen a lady on Instagram, that advertises her chickens online, and she sells hundreds of the chickens online. Hundreds. People rush to her poultry to buy off her layers whenever she's done, processing the laying process with the birds. And she's doing all that marketing online, even though she has the physical poultry, right? So I'm trying to say to you that understanding the location, and let's say, for example, you want to begin a poultry. Why are you looking for a place in the city? Because you don't need to be accessed if you're doing poultry. You can be in the bush somewhere where the location, the land costs you almost nothing to get. So you can get a location that costs you almost nothing. You can use your father's compound to start poultry. You can use where you live to sell yams, to sell cassava. There's certain things that doesn't require you renting a shop. But even if you require to rent a shop, you must be very strategic about where you pick the location for the store. Because some of you, your decision to pick the store where it is has killed your business. So there's a woman that was part of our top 10 in the TNGT grant that, you remember the story, that began the fishery and was doing very well and took some money for the fish business and then used the money to build ponds. And then in doing so, she used all the money for the pond and then there was no money for the fish. So, you know what I'm saying, right? So if you had asked me, she didn't need to build a pond because before that time, she was renting somebody else's pond. Just keep doing that for as long as possible until you raise the capital enough to be able to do your own pond. Some of you are selling things that you don't need to have a shop. Go to someone who has a shop and say, Oga, can I lease out a corner of this your store? If you come to Abuja and come to big stores like Next Cash and Carry and many of these big stores, what they do is that they don't own everything in the store. They have this big store that can take maybe like 1 million goods, but they lease out different spaces to different brands to come and sell in that mall. And then the store, like Next Cash and Carry, takes a commission per every sale. So there are many ways that you can begin to sell what you sell in a location that costs you almost nothing. And number two, your location also determines what you sell. I used to say very humorously that you don't sell pure water in Maitama and you don't sell bottled water in one man's village, if you know Abuja very well, if you know what I mean. So if you go to one man's village and you are trying to promote bottled water, you may not get as many buyers because of the location. What sells in the location is more of pure water or sachet water. But if you come to Maitama, what sells is bottled water. So where you sell should influence what you sell. When we began the hotel in Makurdi, a very dear friend and partner called, who owns one of the best hotels in Lagos, and he was trying to tell me to do a few things. I mean, he had inspired me greatly for what we did in Makurdi, and he wanted me to do other things in Benue. And I explained to him that I can't do that here because in your hotel in Lagos, a night there is about 400,000 naira, just one night. It's almost 500,000. I said in Makurdi, one night is 40,000. So as much as I want to do these things, they can't pay for it here. You see that now? So I had to tailor our design and our finishing to what people in the location can afford. So some of you are doing maybe tote bags like Jennifer, and you are doing designer tote bag in Makurdi or in where? In Ankpa, in Otupo, or in Ida, right? I want to sell tote bags for 25,000. Uncle, nobody will buy it. All right? Nobody will buy it. Not because you're not making the best tote bags, but in the location you are selling, nobody will buy a tote bag for 25,000. You see? However, if you find yourself in like a very beautiful store in Lagos, in Abuja, or outside Nigeria, and you put the same design there as a gift bag, people will buy it for $25, for example, which comes to about 35K. They will buy it for like 20 pounds, for example, which comes to like 40K. But the location that you are selling will influence the amount that you're selling. So know what to sell and know where to sell. Number 3 is what I've already addressed, which is the skill of the trade and the trade of the skill. Learn how to do the business and also learn how to sell the business. Many of you have learned how to do the business in terms of achieving the skill of the business. You have learned how to sew. You have learned how to do eyelash. You have learned how to bake the best cakes in your city, but you have not learned how to sell your cakes. You see that now? You have learned how to make the best dresses, but you don't know how to sell your dresses. You have learned how to buy the best shoes, but you have not learned how to sell it. Now, there's a trend that I see, very funny trend, where almost everybody in Abuja now is posting houses. Have you seen that before? Everybody is real estate agent. Now, all your friends, Abigail, why are you closing out? All your friends can barely buy food of 10,000. I think, what do I mean? Everybody on your contact list can barely buy pizza of 17,000. And you are putting houses on your status of 70 million. Who will buy it? Who is on your status that has 1 million to even buy the window of the house you are promoting? I don't know if I'm saying. So why are you promoting something that you don't have the community for? You're not an agent because you are posting 20 houses every week, right? That is not how to develop the skill of a trade or the trading of the skill. That you are posting the thing every day doesn't mean anybody's going to buy it. There is how to post to develop how to trade the skill. So when you have built the business, when you have built the brand, when you have built the product, it's good to build a skill on developing the best product or the best service. But you must learn how to sell the best service. You must learn how to sell the best product. And it does not come by just posting. Like I said earlier in the catch-up session, that there's how to post, right? Many of you are posting very great videos of your product, but there's no call to action. So if, for example, you have 20 friends that are very passionate about your brand and about your efforts, and they reshare your videos on their status, how do we reach you? Now, I'm seeing you on everybody's status. That Jennifer or Ire or Michael is selling this product. But there's no phone number. There's no call to action. There's no call to action. So I love the video. I love the product. And, having to call the person who posted it and say, please, who get this thing now? Give me the phone number. It's too much hassle. So even though you have regular posts and great content, there's no call to action that drives the traffic to your brand. Is that okay? So there is how to build the skill to sell. When you build a skill of what you want to do as a business, you must learn to sell it. Okay? Then the next thing I want to say here is what I said last week, which is don't sell what you like, sell what sells. Many of you are very driven by passion. And some of you have heard me many times talk about how to follow your passion, right? So I give you an example. I have a passion to sing. Let's say I have a passion to sing. And for the past 5 years, I've been unable to raise the money to release my first album because I don't have what it takes and there's no one to borrow me the money. Where's the timer? So I know how much time. Okay. So I don't have the resources to fund my passion because my passion is to sing, but I don't have what it takes to sing, to record an album. But I keep driving towards following my passion. I want to follow my passion. I want to sing. So I'm calling people, begging them for money. I'm trying to, get gigs that will pay me some kind of money because I want to follow my passion. However, I'm unable to raise the resources because my consistent drive has been to follow my passion. And that's the reason why many of you are stuck in a particular level because you are trying to do something that you like without realizing that one of the ways to achieving what you like is first doing something that you hate. So it's possible that I have a drive for music, but I will spend the first 4 years probably working on a job that I hate to raise the money that I need to pursue what I like. So I'm first saying that there's a way to pursue passion. And one of the ways of doing that is that you may have to do something that you don't like to achieve the thing that you like. And that also applies to business. You may have a passion to sell shirts, or like the lady from Tanzania, you may have a passion to do graphics. But in the city where you are, graphics will not sell. And what will sell is the selling of veils. Now, you may have to ignore your passion for graphics to selling veils because veils is what sells. So you sell the veils long enough to raise the money to explore your prospects in graphics. Is that making sense to you? So, sorry?
Can use the graphics to also make money.
Yes, in fact, you can use the graphics to promote the veils. So you're using the graphic skills to promote the sales of your veil. But what you're actually selling is the veil, even though what you really love is the graphics. But you focus on... Now, I love our new line of businesses in hotels and hospitality. But essentially, primarily, I'm an architect, all right? In my own case, I still enjoy doing architecture, don't get me wrong. But as I get older, I'm getting tired of architecture. I will lie to you. So I will retire very soon from architecture. But now, architecture for me has been a fuel to push other things that I really love to do. So for me, architecture was selling for many years, right? It came with a lot of troubles, a lot of drama, issues on site, all the, side dramas. The client is bashing you, your workers are bashing you, suppliers are bashing you. So it's very tedious work, all right? However, in that struggle, it was selling. Do you understand my point? So I couldn't stop doing it because it helped to fund everything else that I liked. Like Purple Network, for example, we spend millions and millions every month and we don't have sponsors, right? Because something is funding it. And the funding came from something that I didn't really quite enjoy. You see that now? Even though I know I'm gifted in architecture, but I don't enjoy being under the sun, I promise you. I'm looking very nice now, but if you see me sometimes, I'm like charcoal. If I raise my shirt now, you see my real color. Here, I'm like yellow. Here, I'm black, so that's because of architecture. But I do it because it sells, right? And it affords me the opportunity to do other things that I love. Is that making sense to you? So when I say that sell what sells and don't sell what you like, I'm not saying you should completely abandon what you like. But I'm saying that what will fund what you like eventually may be you selling what sells, and what sells may be something that you don't like. I mean, I am an architect selling bread, right? I'm an architect selling rice and beans, okay? But selling rice and beans gives me millions every month. Selling bread gives me millions every month. For those of you who don't know, we have a new bakery now in Abuja, not just in Makurdi or in Benue State, because it sells, it's working. And every 30 days, by God's mercies, we are seeing millions rolling, probably even in ways that architecture didn't give me at some time. You see? So I'm selling what I'm selling because it sells, right? Because if you're trying to make a logic out of it, it makes no sense that somebody will go to school for 6 years, study architecture with a proper degree and master's, and then you're selling bread. But it sells. Okay, it sells. All right. So now, in line with selling what sells, you may be asking, how do I know what sells? How do I know what sells? So I'm going to give you 5 things to use to measure what sells. Is that okay? 5 things. I will list them out and then I will go back to it. So what sells? Number 1, you sell by your understanding of the territory. So number 1, understand the territory. This thing I'm saying is powerful. Nah. Number 2 is understand the gap. You sell by understanding the gap. As much people want to ask what is the gap, I'll tell you later. So number 1 is understand. First of all, I thank God for this network. Jesus is Lord. Yeah, so number 1, understand the territory. Number 2, understand the gap. Number 3, understand the product. Understand the product. Number 4, understand the market. You have to understand the market. It's not a market. You must understand the market. Brother, you must understand the markets. And then number 5, which is very, very powerful, is that you must understand your access. Not the access, your access. And I'll explain what that means. So I'm going to try to run through these 5 items. If we're able to do that within the time frame, fantastic. And see how much we can go. But, so now I'm trying to teach you here what sells. Later in the lecture, I'll teach you what to sell. They're 2 different things. I'm telling you now, this is how to sell, how to understand what sells. Because I just said, sell what sells and not what you like, right? Don't sell what you like, sell what sells. So you're asking what sells, and I'm telling you that to know what sells, number 1 is that you must understand the territory. Now, there are things, let me give you a story. I've been giving a lot of stories today, right? So some days ago again, a friend of mine sent me a chart. They are traveling to somewhere in the UK, and she's got a little baby. So she said, please, where can I buy winter jackets in Abuja? So I said, I don't know, but I kind of doubt if you can find winter jackets in Abuja. But let me just ask my wife. And ask my wife, babe, is there anywhere we can get winter jackets? She said, no, you can't get anywhere that she knows, So I'm just thinking about it. I said, there's no winter in Nigeria. You can't buy winter jacket where there's no winter. You know what I'm saying, right? So it would be very bad or very stupid, not bad is not the word, it would be very stupid that I travel to Canada and I see that everybody is wearing winter jackets. Those cool, you see them now in snow, beautiful winter jackets. And they say, oh boy, this winter jacket they move market. Then I now go and buy like 500 winter jackets and bring to Nigeria. What do you think will happen? I won't sell anyone. Why? The territory. The only factor that determines the market is strictly the territory. Nothing else. So many of you are selling things without giving credence to the territory that you're selling, right? You must understand the territory. If, like I just said, if you have more students on your status, why are you posting a shirt for 25,000? You are selling the wrong thing in that territory. You see that now? You are a young person, and, just starting in life, and then you are promoting wigs, human hair. Jennifer, you used to wear wig a lot now.
Yes, sir.
You're promoting human hair of 400,000. Uncle, who will buy it? Brazilian hair. Which other hair again?
Vietnam.
I've not even gone to Brazil.
You have not even gone to Brazil yet.
Raw Vietnam.
Raw, that's the hair. Raw Vietnam hair for 400,000. Uncle, auntie, who will buy it in your territory? You see that now? Now, you may have to sell a wig that is 38,000. We know that we know it's rubber. It's literal rubber. It will cause heat. It will bring body odor. It is a terrible product, but it is what sells in your territory. Auntie, go and sell it. Go and sell it. Go and sell it. Sell 500 of it. When you are done selling it, you now shift your level. But you must understand the territory. You are in a city that are dominated by civil servants. All right? And you are a car dealer. And all your cars are Land Cruiser and Prado. Who will buy it? Who will buy it? Go and look for Corolla, Uber Corolla, and buy 20 of them. Use the money for one Land Cruiser and buy 5 Corollas. And I promise you, you will sell that in 2 months. On the flip side, your Prado will park there for 8 months. Nobody will buy it because of the territory. I'll give you an example just now about pure water and bottled water. It is engineered by your territory. You must understand your territory. What is the territory saying to me? What does it look like? What do people use here? How do people buy here? What's the nature of the people of the territory? What is the weather like? Makurdi is hot, Jos is cold. You see that now? So if you are doing ice cream in Makurdi, it may sell better than in Jos. In fact, speaking of ice cream, I want to do ice cream in Makurdi. And I will not say everything, but I would love to do ice cream in Makurdi. They just have a beautiful ice cream place with shawarma and and all that. Because Makurdi is hot. And create ice cream at different levels, not the Abuja type. I went to buy ice cream for my children recently. 2 scoops of ice cream, 12,000. That's transport from Abuja to Makurdi.
It's cheap now. Cold Stone gets higher.
Cold Stone is higher. 16K for how many scoop?
18K, 20K.
For ice cream.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying, right? Now, people are buying ice cream from Cold Stone and Abuja here, from what they are saying, 20,000 naira. 20,000 naira. So if you go to Makurdi, for example, Jennifer,
Yes, sir.
I want to sell ice cream for 20,000.
Yeah, my family member.
Who will buy it? They may even buy it maybe like once in a year. Then they will buy only 1 cup, 5 children and father and mother. They will buy 1 cup, and they will use 7 spoons. You see, but in Abuja here, it's normal. There are buffets in restaurants here in Abuja that go for like 60K. Right? My wife and I have gone to eat many times, and there are many meals in a lot of these a la carte restaurants that are like 100K per person, 50K per person. Right? But it works here. But you can't say, I want to bring an a la carte restaurant to Makurdi or to Ida or to Lokoja. Or, no, it just has people that can pay. Or to Tukpo, for example, I want to do a la carte for 35,000 per plate. Who will buy it? I went to a hotel in Lagos and I ordered for dinner. They brought me one small swallow like this. Brought me one small okra that looks like kata. Very cold looking okra. Beautiful hotel, don't get me wrong. And that food was almost 40,000 naira. Bakery meat like this. Okay? But it was almost 40K. And I paid joyfully, I didn't complain. Because of the territory. You see that now? So the territory must influence your decision for what you sell. Now, let me say this as a caveat. Some territories may require you to shift the bar. So when you learn the territory and realize that everything stops here, and you get to learn that more when you are learning the markets, you know what I'm saying? You learn the markets. So when you see what sells in certain places, there's also an avenue where you can shift the bar. When we came into Makurdi, with all due respect to all restaurants in Makurdi, please, I may be wrong, but just with all due respect, many restaurants didn't have ACs. So when you dine with flies, because it's either fan or outside. That's what was popular in Makurdi. Even some of the big restaurants at that time, like what's their name? I've forgotten their names. Yeah. So, but they didn't have ACs. They're no longer in Makurdi anyways. This would be by that roundabout. Yeah. But there's no, I can't recall proper AC working. However, when we came, we felt a need to create a very conducive atmosphere and still sell the food very cheap. So we brought in ACs, and then a few months later, you notice that many restaurants began to buy air conditioners to their restaurants. All right? So that basically shifted the bar. So we understood the territory, so we could have come and just modeled after the territory and don't do any AC at all, just keep it very basic. But we didn't want to do that. We shifted the bar by our understanding of the territory. And doing that, it influenced the market generally in the territory. So whatever you're doing, you can learn the territory and also shift the bar a little bit. Number two is what? Understand the gap. This is very critical. So some years ago, we were building our bakery in Makurdi. And that's probably like, the last time I stayed in Makurdi for a long time was 2008, thereabout, where we were building a house for a client. And I was in Makurdi for like 8 months. And I was in a hotel most of the time. Not the greatest experience, but then I was still a bit young. I was about 26 years old. So I didn't really kind of mind. I was a hustler. I didn't care. But as I grew older and we began the bakery project, this was maybe like less than 10 years ago now, maybe 6-7 years ago, I had to also live in a hotel for an extended period of time. And it was terrible. I'll be in a hotel, a very good hotel in Makurdi for that matter, where I don't call names. Jennifer says I should not call names. Where I want to shower sometimes, I'll have to use buckets. Buckets. I couldn't believe that, buckets. So I couldn't believe that, it didn't make any sense. And I was saying like in the suites, because I was staying for such a long time, I don't want to be in a single room. So I usually pay for a suite, like a room and parlor. So I just felt I should have some kind of additional comfort, right? Some of them, I was not confident enough to use their bed sheets. At one point, I had to buy my own bed covers to put in the room, right? And then sometimes in the daytime, when I left site, let's say site was less busy, I came back to the room, and there are not many guests in the hotel, they'll turn off the generator for maybe like 6-7 hours. And we say, on Jen, say, no, they'll on in the evening when there are more people back. So, and I was paying a premium to stay in the suites, okay? So that experience told me that there's a gap. Because I know that it's not rocket science to have a hotel, I beg your pardon, that can give you proper water pressure. It's not rocket science. Pressure pump is probably barely 200,000 naira, 300,000 naira. All you require to change that bucket status is a pressure pump. So I began to study the market in the hoteling industry. I stayed in different hotels and I saw that the bucket solution was quite popular. Now you go to a very good hotel, sometimes the shower will flow properly, other times you have to use the bucket. In fact, you use the bucket more times than the shower. All right? And then the issue of the NEPA issue or the generator issue that they turned off was, I was studying the gaps. Those were the gaps in the hoteling industry of the market. Okay? I'll go to the bakery option later, but let's talk about hotels. So when we made up our minds to build a hotel, let me tell you the story. The devil has ears. Don't joke with the devil. So when we began the hotel, bear in mind that one of the things I saw as a gap in the hotel industry is what? Number one is bad water pressure. Number two is poor power supply. So I can give you 5 other things, but let's just stay with these 2 things. So when we began the hotel, one thing we did was that we bought our own transformer, just to ensure that we had no issues with light, okay? But even when we did that, we paid for a brand new transformer, then later realized that the vendor, who is even still owing us millions till now, gave us a refurbished transformer. So when we began the hotel in Makurdi, normally people start the hotels, people would just come maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. When we began our own hotel, the whole rooms were fully occupied, all at once. So the whole building was fully tested. Water, lights, everything was tested under pressure. And then after a few days, our transformer blew. It blew. That's when we now realized that the brand new transformer we thought we bought was a refurbished transformer. So we had to quickly call the vendor to come and fix it. And then we had to at some point plan to buy a brand new one. Till today, that vendor, I wish I could call his name. He's still owing us millions till now. Let me call his name, Jennifer. Okay. I should not call his name. Okay. So, anyways, but because of our commitment to meeting the needs of the gap, we had to run the generator for 7 days straight. because we had committed that we're going to have 24 hours light in our hotel. And then we now were tested. Because, if we had this problem of a blown transformer, it would have been a good excuse to say we can't leave the generator running for 24 hours in 7 days. We could say, okay, guys, sorry, our transformer blew. So from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., the gen will be off, let the gen rest. We didn't do that. In fact, we brought in the second generator. And we're running the generator 24 hours a day. If it blinks for 10 seconds. 10 seconds. And that's why we're probably changing from Gen 1 to Gen 2. Because we saw the gap. And then, very quickly, the news went around town that we were a hotel that gave 24 hours light. That automatically gave us an edge. So our projection of growth that was meant to last for, let's say, 8 months to 1 year, we hit it in 3 months. Because we met something that was in response to the gap of the market. See that now? Because there are many hotels in Makurdi. In fact, I used to say it jokingly, on our street, we have 2 other hotels.
Yes.
2 other hotels have been there maybe like 10 years. All right? Yes. So people even describe our hotel by another hotel.
Yes.
They say, if you are coming, it's close to this hotel. So they use a hotel to describe our hotel. And in that neighborhood, if you go maybe like 20 miles radius, we probably see like 10 to 15 hotels around us. But what we did was to look for the gap. And we met the gap. There are many gaps that we had to address, even the gap of smell, of sound, of ambience, of flies, of many things I don't want to call. But we were looking for the gaps. What is the gap within the territory in the market? Because you can understand the territory, but you will be looking for the prospect. That's what many of you do. When you go to the territory, you're looking for what is everybody doing, what is selling. What is selling is not what you should look for first. Is what are the things that people need. No, I've shared a story before. I think even in one of my books about the guy from the company that sells shoes. And he went to a village. The company sent him to a village to go and do a market survey of their shoes, if people will buy their shoes in that village. So he went to the village and realized that nobody was wearing shoes. So he went back to the company and said, nobody wears shoes in that village, so the shoe will not sell. Then after some time, they sent somebody else there who went there and saw the same problem, that nobody wears shoes here, but went back with a different perception. He said, Oga, because nobody is selling shoes, we will sell so many shoes here. So somebody went there and saw a problem. The other person went there and saw an opportunity. And that's how to interpret gaps. So some of you are looking for what everybody else is already using in the place. But what if you bring something that the gap demands, but nobody has met? You see that now? So you look at a territory and you understand the gap. What are the gaps there? People are selling food, but what's the gap in the food industry? People are selling shirts. What is the gap in the shirt industry? People are selling shoes. What is the gap in the shoe industry? Sometimes the gap just be the delivery system. That the way people deliver the items is not structured enough. So you are selling the same thing like everybody else, but your delivery system is on the next level. You see? Some of them is even just kindness. You can go to a place where the gap is that they just talk anyhow. People that sell just talk anyhow. There's no, no etiquette, no devotion for, very kind communication. Not nice, kind communication. Hello, ma, hope you're okay. Did you like the brand? Are you sure you're okay? That could just be the gap that there is in your territory. That you don't know how to communicate your correspondence that brings closure to your clients. Because in the territory that you're selling, things are selling, but is a brutal field. People don't care about being nice. They just come, they are not nice. And then everybody else feel like, why has everybody not been nice all this while? Like, this is sweet though. The way we go there and they greet us, the girl is so nice. Even when she's surprised, she will call you back to ask you, that's a gap. And it may be a gap that even you have suffered. That you wish the person who sold to you called you to follow up on you. And then you just realize that because you keep calling people like that to follow up on them, they keep telling everybody about you. And you're thinking that it's what you are selling that is making them call you. It's not what you are selling. It's the way you call them. It's the way you talk to them. That's the gap you are feeling. The gap of that niceness, that kindness that you show, right? So understand the gap. Number 3 is understand the product. Many of you are selling what you don't understand. Bam, just that simple. Many of you are selling, you are not taking time to understand even the thing that you are selling. You are selling wigs. If I ask you to tell me 5 kinds of wigs, you say there's a blue one, there's a red one, there's a green one. That's not how they define wigs, okay? Go and learn the terminologies of that industry. Go and learn the terminologies of the trade, of the brand. You are doing furniture. You don't know the name of anything. You say that wood, the one, if you are making the TV wood on the wall, how can you be calling console TV wood and you're a furniture maker? You know what I'm saying? You go and learn the language of your product. Every product has a language. If you're into hotels, there are languages. The check-in time, the check-out time, housekeeping, F&B. Go and learn the language of your product. You're selling food, go and learn it. What's the shelf life of your product? Learn the language of your products. They sell rice, there's jollof rice, there's fried rice. There's more to it, sir. There's coconut rice. There's more to it. The oil that you use is important. The tomato you use, go and learn it. The different kinds of tomato, the different kinds of spices. Go and learn it. Go and devote time to learning the language of your product. Many of you have no idea. You have no idea. Some of you, like Irena, who is making very good chin-chin. These people are struggling for bread behind this thing. So now, people like Irena who makes chin-chin, for example. Now, when I was growing up, I used to love chin-chin a lot. But I like chin-chin that has a bit more butter, for example. That is a bit more fluffy when you eat it. It's not too sweet, it's not too plain, but it's in a certain way. There are those who like very crunchy chin-chin. Some of you, all you just do is chin-chin. What do you make chin-chin? How is your chin-chin? It's chin-chin or chin-chin? Normal chin-chin. You just do like this. Normal chin-chin. There's more to the products. Right? Learn the product. And when you learn the product enough, you can even reinvent it. Why can't you create chin-chin that has ginger? If you know the product enough, you can know how to work ginger into your product because you have learned the product so much that you can rework it. In Macaulay, I had never been to a hotel where there was music in the lobby. We introduced it to the best of my knowledge, right? Because we understood the products. That sometimes lobbies are very boring. Very boring. So let us create an experience before you even enter the room so you enjoy even walking to your room. I told our management team when we began the hotel that a time will come that our lobby will make us money. And in fact, we had to stop people from taking pictures in the lobby because people began to come to pay to take pictures in our corridors, in our lobbies of the hotel. There were months that we were making up to $500,000 from pictures taken just in the lobby. I think I can say that here. All right. So that is because we are creating an experience even in a passive space because I've learned the product. So I wanted to create an experience not just in the bathroom or in the bedroom or in the restaurant. I wanted the lobby to be part of the experience. And that's by understanding the product. So if you're selling chin-chin, sell it with style. If you're selling cakes, find how to sell it better. Right? Because everybody is making cakes now. You must understand the product enough. There's a way you will talk about the cake that will make me feel like I should pay you more. Some of you, all you know is, do you want a round cake? 8 inches. 10, there's nothing else you know again. 2 step, 1 step. There's nothing else you know about cakes. Some of you are saying you are doing a cryptocurrency. Let's not even go there. Right? But you've got to understand. So you need to learn the product. It's very critical that you learn what you are selling. If you are selling t-shirts or you are selling fabrics, learn the names of the fabric. Learn the advantages of different fabrics. And then you sell it by that language. Write this down. Every product has a language. Every product. If you are selling granite, there's a language. If you are selling corn, there's a language. If you are selling fish, most of you sell grilled fish. One of my daughters sell fish, and she made millions from doing so. Learn the language of selling fish. There's a way you will talk about the product that will make me buy it. I won't just buy it, I will buy it high with a higher price. Not because your product is better, but the way you spoke about it, your knowledge of it will make me want to pay more for it. So let me give you a story. When I began in architecture, many of my colleagues at the time would design for like 30,000, 50,000. It was a good deal. Just a BSc graduate at the time. I had not begun my master's yet. It was a big deal then. This was maybe like 20 years ago to make 50,000 naira on a design. But I didn't want that. I wanted 300,000. I wanted 200,000. So what I did was to learn the language. So when I come, I'll just tell you, I will use confusing languages. He said, give me a nice balcony. I said, okay, sir, what we'll do is that we'll cantilever the balcony in the way that it extends out 2.4 meters, and that way the protrusion will help you understand the elevation from the right-hand side. The man no code anything. Okay. Very good. And in his mind, that this guy, he's sabi the work. Now that word cantilever. I just say the balcony will just protrude out without pillars. That's all. I could have just said the balcony will not have pillars under. That's all I need to say. The balcony, sir, will not have pillars under, or the balconies will be suspended. I didn't want to use that. So the balconies will be cantilevered by 2.8 meters. He doesn't have any idea what 2.8 meters means. He cannot picture it in his head. But this guy knows what he's talking about. And eventually I said, design fee 300,000. And that's how I made my first 1 million. In fact, if you've heard my story before, the job for which I made 1 million, I was going to be charging 400,000 with fear and trembling. And eventually the man offered to pay me 1 million naira because of my understanding of my product. Because I spoke the language. I spoke it so much so that the man, when he met me with the dress, he first praised the name of the company. He said, Minds and Lines. Minds and Lines. He said, hey, this was how we began to talk. I drove from Jos that time, many years ago, with my small car to Abuja, came to his office. So when I brought the drawings, he opened the drawings. I said, now look at the name under Minds and Lines. Hi, Minds and Lines. Minds and Lines. Hi. How did you get the name? That's a good name, you see? So the name was already communicating a language of the product. To the point that he felt like this name can produce something. All right? Yeah. So you need to learn your products number. I'll just try and finish this part, and then maybe we can continue next month. No. So number 4 now, right? Is understand the market. Now, I like this one. I hope I have the time for it. Now, there are realities in the market. 10 more minutes. They say 2 more minutes. No. So there are realities in the market, and I will list a few, and you might want to write them down. So when you understand the market or the markets, number 1, you must understand the pricing of the market. There's a pricing. There's a way that things are priced if you understand the market. Whatever you want to sell, whether it's water, whether it's chin-chin, whether, you know what I'm saying? There's a way that there's a pricing of the market. Now, you know that there's a way you will come with your pricing that your item will look like it's fake, only because you got the pricing wrong. If the pricing margin is, let's say, is 3,000, and you are able to achieve that thing for 1,2, and you put it at 1,2, and you come into a market at 1,2, you may seem to be a fake, not because of the product is fake, but you didn't study the market to see that there's a pricing that is predominant in the market. Okay, it's time up, right? So let's just try and finish these 2 items here. So you need to understand the pricing of your market. There's a pricing. Don't try and reinvent the pricing. Don't try to reinvent the pricing. Understand what the pricing is and tweak it a little bit higher or a little bit lower to your advantage. Sometimes if it's at 3,000, bring yours to 2,900. It's psychological. Somebody will buy two of the item because of 100 naira difference. It's psychological. When it is for 3,000, you sell it for 2,800. You say, okay, give me two instead. Because in their mind, it's a great deal. They are saving 200 naira per the item. In some cases, you need to take the price higher because it shows that you are better. You see that now? So when you get the price at 3K, you can sell your own at 3,400. Not 5,000 because you drive them away. At 3,400, and that 3,400 might just suggest to them that you are trying to, this your own might be better. And then, you have added niceness and kindness and other things you've learned. So when you add that, they just feel like, for you to sell at 3,500, yours must be better. So you must understand the market to know whether you tweak your price a bit lower or a bit higher. But if you go offbeat completely, you'll be seen either as a scam for charging too much or as an arrogant person for demanding for too much or as a scam for selling too less. So you get my point now? So one of the things you learn in the market is your pricing. The number two thing you learn in the market is the demand. The demand. The demand. Now, many of you do not take time to study the demand. For example, you're into poultry and you want to go and do layers. Are people buying more layers than broilers in your city? Because it's possible that people probably will buy more eggs than more chicken in that city. Like in Benue State and some other cities, let's say go to Ida, for example, I'm sure eggs will sell more than chicken. Because even in Ida, when it comes to choice of meat, they rather pick goat over chicken. You see what I'm saying now? So if you are doing poultry, let's say in Ida, you might be smarter to do layers. So you can sell eggs and not birds, even though you are trading in birds. But in other cities like Abuja, there's eatery everywhere. So people are buying chicken even at 6 weeks, 5 weeks, in large numbers, right? So you can do that because you understand the market. Am I correct? Yeah, so you need to learn the demands of the market. And then you shape your business in response to that demand. Number three, so I can run faster, which is for me, this is probably one of the best points in the market is, are you ready for it? Understand your competition. When you study the market, in fact, even though I'm saying it last, there are more things I can say, but because of time, I won't say them. But competition should be number one. When you come into a market, the first thing to learn is take time to school yourself of your competition. Now, one time we were doing a podcast, and I think it was Mimi Do, was asking a question about competition, and she was saying that, competitions can be, dangerous. I said, no. Your competitors are your friends. The biggest wisdom of any business comes from your competition. If you want to grow any business, the best way to grow your business is study your competition. Because you need to know what they do, how they do it, why they do what they do. Learn it. What they do, how they do it, why they do what they do. And this is what I have done. Last month we talked about finding your uniqueness. So some of the things that we have done in finding our uniqueness came from our study of the competition. So for some of them, we learned what they were doing, how they were doing it, why they were doing it, and we copied it. For some of them, we saw what they were doing, how they were doing it, why they were doing it, and we changed it. For some of them, we were seeing what they were doing, how they were doing it, why they were doing it, and we did it better. You see now? Some we copied, some we changed, went the completely opposite direction, others we improved it. But in every business, your biggest mentor are your competitors. They're not your enemies. Study them. Don't be too angry to watch their videos. Yeah, you understand? Don't be vexing. Don't be vexing. Somebody said something, in a clip I watched some days ago about, he was saying that Starbucks, one of the biggest tea coffee companies in the West, that Starbucks has spent over 400 million to develop their advertising skills and strategy. And he said that if you're a competitor, why are you trying to spend 400 million also? Just copy what they have done. Just take it. And whatever they are doing, they have spent 400 million to learn it. Just study what they have already achieved for free. You know what I'm saying? So your competitor has done something. Why are you going to read 8 books? Just go and look at your competitor and copy it. So people have come to our hotel and our restaurant many times from different hotels. But one of the managers, I will not call his name again, he came, he didn't know that our guests would know him. He was trying to come as a guest with style, like a camouflage, like a spy. But we figured out who he was. Come and look at our place because we're trying to build their own new wing. Obviously, because he wants to come and see what we're doing that is working. One of the other hotels that was very humble, a very big hotel in Makurdi, came and told us that they are so impressed with what we're doing. They want our GM to train their management staff. And they brought them to us, about 5 of them. A competition in the same city. No, they brought them in a bus. And our GM gave them a tour of our hotel and told them how we did what we did. And I honored it. I respect it. Because why are you trying to just go and see what they are doing? You're having a problem with your booking, with your, just go and see how are they doing this thing right. That's all. So when you understand your market, you learn your competitors. Because competition is a constant. Why are you fighting a constant? You see what I'm saying now? It's not a variable that you say that in some places you will have competition, in other places you will not have. It's a constant. Why do you want to fight a constant in every market? Competition is a constant in every market. So let me just try and stop here quickly. Sorry, we're out of time. I'm so sorry, but because we're having like 31 minutes to finish this whole class. Understand maybe I should not even talk about understand your access. Let me leave it for next week. All right. Yeah. So the 5th item is understand your access. Then we'll now continue the lecture on business 101. Maybe we'll title that one business 102. All right. So I will stop here because of time. We have just 30 minutes to close this class, and we need to take questions. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the end of our part 1 of business 101.